Good evening. My name is Susan Irvin, and I will be discussing carbon dioxide emissions and human activity. The scientific community acknowledges that human activities have led to an increase in four principal greenhouse gases, which are listed as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and halocarbons, which is a group of gases containing fluorine, chlorine, and bromine. I decided to focus my research in on carbon dioxide because I feel that it's one of the principal greenhouse gases that we can have some control over how much we choose to emit. Scientists believe that human activity has impacted the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, and this has been by offsetting the balance that is found naturally. This imbalance has led to a warming of the Earth's atmosphere and a disturbance in our climate. The natural sources of carbon dioxide emissions are decomposition, ocean release, and respiration. Carbon dioxide is naturally filtered from the atmosphere by green plants while they undergo photosynthesis, as well as other geochemical processes. Before industrialization, the amount of carbon dioxide was at 280 parts per million, but by 2007, the amount had increased to 383 parts per million, and scientists believe that this increase was almost entirely due to human activity. And there are three noted human activities that produce 85% of carbon dioxide emissions. Those are burning of fossil fuels, which are listed as coal, natural gas, and oil, clearing of forests, otherwise known as deforestation, and lastly, industrial processes, most notably the manufacturing of cement. My goal of this study is to find out what my classmates think about the relationship between climate change and human activity. And more specifically, my research question was to find out what human activities pre-service college students think have had an impact on climate change. For my research method, I chose to use an open-ended question so I could see what pre-service student teachers thought about the effect that humans have had on the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And so my first question was yes or no, but then I asked follow-up questions to find out more details on their thinking. For my instrument, I had a small slip of paper with my research questions, and I passed them out to my classmates, many of which will be student teachers next semester. My main question that I asked was, how do college students think humans have had an impact on climate change? And to answer this question, I asked, first off, is there a relationship between climate change and human activity? If so, how have humans impacted climate change? My second part to that question was asking students to name three activities that have led to an increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. For my population, I chose to study 30 pre-service student teachers in my classes, most of which were early childhood or special education. I excluded any integrated science majors. This is my first results slide. This part of the survey was a yes or no answer, but I found that there was a lot of feedback on the second part of the question, so I have included if students felt if that human impact was negative. I was pleasantly surprised that the student perspective did closely match the scientific perspective. There were a few results that were interesting though. The first notable response was that exposing oil, the act of drilling itself, emitted carbon dioxide. Another student noted that a human activity that impacted climate change was no activity at all. My results from this question, the second question that I asked, showed me what human activities students believe have had an effect on the increase in carbon dioxide, which is a part of the reason for climate change. Again, the student perspective matched the scientific perspective and more closely than I originally thought it would, but what didn't match up was the main activities that contribute to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. While most students felt that car exhaust was the main contributor, it actually is the electricity and heating sector, which, to be fair, is another fossil fuel use. But only a small percentage felt that deforestation was a cause, and that was at 8%. The results of my survey showed me that the general understanding of pre-service student teachers agree with the perspectives of science. The results do answer my research question, and I was able to see a wide range of human activities that my classmates listed. I had many more responses than what is listed in the pie graph in the previous slide, but to save space and streamline my data, I chose to group similar responses together, such as for car exhaust and fossil fuel burning. I also had responses such as oil burning. Other topics I decided to group together were manufacturing, factories, and construction. I grouped these all together as manufacturing because I feel that that group together encompasses some of the activities that my classmates were thinking about. The activities listed were interesting because although many people listed activities that were similar, there were a lot that meant the same thing. So that's where I was able to group those results to simplify my data. These results relate to the bigger picture of our society because these students are soon to be teachers, and they're going to be teaching students of their own, and will go on to teach these ideas to their future classes. For my research, I wanted to know what my classmates think about the relationship between climate change and human activity. And I learned the vast majority of those I surveyed felt that there was a relationship between the two and that humans have had a negative impact. I learned that there were three main human activities that students felt caused an increase in carbon dioxide emissions, and that was car exhaust, manufacturing, and burning trash. While my fellow students still need to brush up on some of the contributors to carbon dioxide emissions, I feel that I've gained a lot of insight to how they feel we as a species are affecting our Earth and the course it moves directly. Here's my references slide. I found a lot of great information through NASA, NOAA, and the third website that I used, which is what'syouриmpact.org.